Manchester Village is one of the municipalities that has received a state planning and community revitalization grant from the state's Department of Housing and Community Development. This year, almost $470,000 was awarded to 32 municipalities in Vermont through the Community Revitalization Program. Manchester Village was awarded almost $14,000 to study the former Bennington County Courthouse at the corner of Union Street and Main Street and the former Opera House nearby on Union Street. The intersection at Main Street, Seminary Avenue, and Manchester West Road will also be part of the study. Kat Byers, a senior planner at the Bennington County Regional Commission, tells us more.
So the purpose of the grant is really twofold. One portion of the project is it's not to restore any buildings, it's really to do a land use analysis of two buildings, I should say two sites, to see what land uses are appropriate and really what the community would like to prioritize for reuse of the sites. So the first is the county courthouse, which recently came into ownership of the town of Manchester. The town of Manchester has been looking into what viable and popular reuses of the courthouse would be moving forward. So that's one building. And the second site is the site of the music hall, or the Manchester Opera House, which, after years of trying to restore the building that were ultimately unsuccessful, the owner, Equinox, has determined that they will demolish it. So that property is really going to become a vacant lot in the very heart of the village center in very soon. So what are some reuse potentials for that site? What is its kind of best use? And through this project, does the community, businesses, residents, municipal officials have any ideas or input that they would like to put forward for that site? In terms of land use, reuse of the sites, not only the uses themselves, but also potential shared or separate parking areas for those sites. The village is a small, intimate, historically settled place. That means that sometimes there's not a lot of room for motor vehicles to crowd out, the intimate center. So, how will parking demand be managed for those sites, and how is bike and pedestrian traffic and access going to be secured to those two sites? So that's one half of the project, is this future land use analysis for two sites, and the other half of the project is focused on traffic flow throughout the village, but really connecting the sites for reuse through the central intersection of the village, which is the 7A intersection with Rest Road and Seminary Avenue, which over the years, there's kind of differing views on exactly what issues are occurring at that intersection. But some municipal officials, some residents perceive there to be some traffic flow inefficiencies through that intersection. Other residents, businesses, officials don't think that there's any issue. Of course, right now, and this was the point that Orland was hoping to make, with traffic levels being so reduced due to COVID changing our daily habits, this is kind of a weird time to look at the intersection and try to figure out, what issues might be going on in terms of vehicle traffic. But something that I think more residents and officials and businesses can agree on in that intersection is that there's not efficient and safe flow for pedestrians and bicycles, again, throughout the village as a whole, but particularly through that busy intersection. And so the transportation side of the study is going to look at possible strategies and priorities for improving traffic flow through the village, and in particular through that intersection. And together, the land use piece and the traffic piece come together to really, take a comprehensive look at the village and think about how is it meeting the needs of the residents of the town and the businesses that it supports. Can people get around safely? Are these sites that are coming up for reuse going to be used, to their best possible use for the village?
Both the buildings have been under study for several years for possible reuse. And coming up with a way to improve traffic flow at the Seminary Avenue intersection will no doubt be welcomed by local residents and motorists if an improvement can be found. For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.